Barney Celebrates Children is funded in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by annual financial support from viewers like you.
Hi, I'm Maria Shriver, and during the next hour we're going to be talking about how important our children are to all of us and how we can all become better parents. In a world that places so many demands on all of us, where in many families both parents have to work, the job of rearing children is becoming harder and harder. We all want to help our children become imaginative, sharing, and caring people, and they rely on us as their teachers, parents, and grandparents to help them understand their world. During this hour, we'll look at the important contribution one particular children's program, Barney and Friends, is making in the lives of children and families worldwide. So in this program, we'll hear from university educators about how we as parents can help foster learning readiness, fun, and imagination in all our children. We'll listen to musicians and therapists who explain the vital importance of music in the development of the young child. And psychologists, parents, and children will share techniques to help us all become more caring and loving families. So please join me as we explore the special world of young children and their parents in Barney Celebrates Children. Barney the Purple Dinosaur has touched children's lives in ways that no one could have imagined just a few years ago. Children trust him as a friend, and they want to be like him. On television and in everyday life, there have been many examples of this trust and the lessons that children have learned.
For some hours last Friday, as thousands of workers stumbled out of the World Trade Center building, an unanswered question was, where are the kindergartners? A group of children on a field trip was unaccounted for, thought to be trapped in an elevator. They were.
Brooklyn kindergarten teacher Anna Marie Tesoriero and her 17 students were trapped 42 stories in the sky in a pitch-black elevator, along with dozens of other children and adults.
We started to sing.
What song?
I love you.
Can you sing a little of that? How does it go? Sing the
I
song.
love you. You love me. We're a happy family.
My situation may be a little different than most parents. I have two boys that are both learning disabled who don't speak yet. They're 4 and 3. So as far as verbalizing their response, that's non-existent. But we could tell by their reactions. I mean, they don't speak, but they do communicate. I think they believe in him. And there's a definite, they look up to Barney. It's not to say they don't look up to their parents, but I guess there's something about Barney. He's become a friend of theirs.
Well, I've learned how to love people, and I've learned to cross the street at the corner, and I learned how to use my imagination. I've learned that when you use imagination, it's like anything can happen.
Jordan Kaufman is under the lights and in front of the cameras. Jordan has Down syndrome.
30 years ago, our kids were kept in closets, and the public didn't see our kids because they were different.
The idea is to show kids that not all children are the same, but that's okay. Everyone can make new friends and play together. Jordan's mother says if special kids like Jordan are not seen and heard, then society will never accept them.
I liked when they showed the child, and they showed him in an honest way. They portrayed him the way he would be with Barney and with the kids. They also had a blind child on that I thought was great, and I think they had a child in a wheelchair on. And Lisa loves seeing all the different kids, like the kids she goes to school with. I think it's real important because Lisa is mainstreamed in our life and in the community. So when she sees a kid with Down syndrome on Barney, she's a part of it.
And Brandon, who was blinded during surgery to remove a brain tumor. Brandon's stuffed Barney was the first thing he asked for after the operation.
He can't see Barney. He still listens to his tapes, and it makes him happy.
Well, that big purple dinosaur that you either love or you hate helped save an Ohio family from a house fire.
She said that Barney told her that when she smelled smoke or saw fire to go get an adult.
But last Monday, in the middle of the night, Barney's good advice became a lifesaver.
And I woke up with Barney and saw the smoke.
Toledo Fire Department Education Officer Dave Wernert says a major disaster was narrowly avoided.
Well, it certainly could have killed all of them.
And instead of another grisly headline, Wernert says the Schaefer story is one with a happy ending.
A pat on the back for old Barney. He got the word out. There's one little girl, and it saved the family.
Helping children to learn is a challenge to every parent. The ability to identify numbers, letters, and shapes form the building blocks that help children deal with more complicated ideas as they grow up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you say when you arrive? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello, hello, hello again.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now we've sung our ABCs. School is where we love to be.
This one is a triangle, it has 3 sides. This one is a triangle, it has 3 sides. S-T-O-P. That spells stop.
I like red.
It's the color of an apple.
Orange.
It's the color of an orange.
Yellow.
It's a lemon and a wonderful sun, sun, sun. This is a story called Good Night Owl. The writer and illustrator is Pat Hutchins.
Illustrator? That means she drew the pictures. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, shut the door. 5, 6, pick up sticks. 7, 8, lay them straight.
By listening to older children, parents, and teachers, kids develop their vocabularies and they begin to make connections with the larger world around them. Jerome and Dorothy Singer of Yale University have done extensive academic research on just how Barney and Friends helps preschool children develop their cognitive abilities. From their studies, the Singers have gathered valuable observations and techniques that will help us as parents do a better job of preparing our own children to learn.
We were particularly interested to see whether Barney and Friends as a children's television series could make a contribution as part of the National Readiness to Learn movement. Could children, in watching this show, pick up some of the cognitive, emotional awareness, social, and other skills that would prepare them more effectively for school learning? What we did was to look at every single episode so far produced. We had teams of trained child psychologists looking at each episode with huge charts listing all of the possible teaching elements that might occur. They simply ticked off whenever they saw an example of mediated teaching. What I mean by mediated teaching is that there's an explanation of the material. You don't just flash an elephant on the screen and not do anything. The elephant has to be explained. Somebody, one of the kids on the show, or Barney, has to say, "Oh, that's an elephant." We found the cognitive skills, an average of 10, 15 per half-hour episode. Summed across a whole series, you get hundreds of such teaching opportunities.
We have looked at kids around the country in 5 different cities: Los Angeles, Tucson, Columbus, Ohio, Atlanta, Georgia, and New Haven. And we worked with very poor children, Hispanic children from inner city, Native Americans, 2 tribes in Tucson, Arizona, African American children in Los Angeles and in Atlanta. And many of these children were in Head Start or in daycare situations where they came from families that were many times single-parent families or dysfunctional families. And in watching them as they watched Barney, we began to see how much he really can convey. But more so when the teacher really helps, when the teacher mediates or talks about the show. The research demonstrated the children truly learned, and I think that's an important message to give to parents, that don't just let the kids watch Barney, but talk about the show. There's much in the show that can make good conversation over dinner or before you're putting a child to bed, and that seemed to make the difference.
There's a song called "There Are 7 Days in a Week." In the past, it's often been difficult to try and get that point to children. Yes, they know some days of the week, but they don't know them in order, and they don't remember that there are 7 days. I noticed the year that tape was around, the children came in, they knew there were 7 days, and they could sing the song. Children will remember if it's in a rhyme or it's in a song.
Well, I'm thinking of a show now that deals with autumn. And in this show, not only do they talk about what autumn or fall means, and that's very important, Barney explains everything. And I remember the episode quite clearly because the kids were confused about the word fall and the word autumn. And Barney, in his very patient way, tells them the two words mean the same thing. I think by listening to that, he models what a parent can really do for a child. Then they talk about the colors, and I could see how a parent could take a child outside and just find the yellow leaves, red leaves. If they don't live in a place where the leaves change colors, you certainly can color them by just drawing a simple leaf and using the crayons. And here's a simple thing for a parent to do.
One of the things children seem to enjoy most is music. They sing along, clap, dance, and mimic the hand and body motions that they see. They seem to be constantly in motion, and they love to sing songs over and over and over again. That very repetition helps children to reinforce what they learn.
Let's play Looby Loo. That's cool. Yes! Here we go, Looby Loo. Here we go, Looby Lights. Here we go, Looby Loo. All in a Saturday night. Hurrah-him, balançameia. Hurrah-him, balançameia. Hurrah-him, balançameia. Hurrah-him, balançameia. Hurrah-him, hurrah-him, balançameia. There was a farmer, had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Oh, I-N-G-O, 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 and Bingo was his name. Oh.
Experts tell us that when our children make music, they're learning many other things at the same time. They're developing motor skills, they're learning a special kind of language that crosses cultural borders, and they're learning, some for the very first time, to become part of a group.
I exercise.
I exercise.
It's good for me.
It's good for me.
It makes me strong.
It makes me strong.
As you can see.
As you can see, I exercise. It's good for me. It makes me strong, as you can see. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. Oh, I used to be afraid, but not anymore. The dentist used to scare me, but that was before. Barney taught me that the things that used to bother me really aren't so scary at all. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, boppity-bop, I like the way that you boppity-bop. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, boppity-bop, I like the way that you boppity-bop. Go round and round the village, go round and round the village, go round and round the village, as we have done before.
Ken Agin, a musician and psychologist at New York University, helps us understand the importance of music for developing creative young children.
I think also music is one of the things that makes human beings human, and as much as any other of our attributes, our thinking attributes or feeling, music is uniquely human. The idea of what it is like to be a human being and to feel as a person.
There's some excellent research that tells us that children who learn to rhyme and learn through music become better readers. And there's some very recent research which is preliminary, but suggests that by teaching preschool children music, it enhances their spatial abilities. And the spatial abilities are those abilities that we use for higher mathematics.
Any type of music production involves some sort of motor control, even if it's just singing. So that when we engage children in musical activities, we have to be sure to only ask them to do things that are age appropriate. So, for example, for younger children, drums might be appropriate, or cymbals. And this helps them gain mastery over their body through a pleasurable and healthy and creative activity. So what music can offer is a creative and healthy way to learn to gain mastery over one's body.
Well, the changes became more physical because they were able to stand up at that point and stand and dance around. When certain things came up on, like the Three Little Monkeys song, they would stand up and jump up and down, and they would go along with Mr. Knickerbocker and do all the hand motions perfectly.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
I think
that the traditional kind of music that has been played for young children has been folk music in one form or another, whether nursery rhymes is really a form of folk music that has been passed on from generation to generation, usually in an oral tradition, often not written down for maybe hundreds of years, but passed on through different periods in a society, really by singing to children perhaps, and then the children grow up and sing that same nursery rhyme to their children and make modifications in it for some reason, and it continues to be passed down.
Bumping up and down in my little red wagon, bumping up and down in my little red wagon, bumping up and down in my little red wagon, won't you be my darling?
Repetition is important because it conveys the message to a child that the world is a secure and predictable place.
Repetition is very natural and very important, and preschool children love it. They love to sing the same songs over and over again, and it's almost as if they internalize both the music and the values.
Children are very, very receptive and responsive to music. They repeat the songs, they sing the songs, and the songs and all the themes in Barney are requiring children to listen and attend, and they're teaching moral themes and values.
When someone mentions Barney, the first thing I think about is imagination and how Barney and Friends encourages pretend play. One of the things I like best about the character is that he creates a whole world of imagination, a world full of possibilities, safe for young children to explore.
You can do anything if you just imagine. Just imagine, just imagine, just imagine all the things that we could be. Imagine all the places we could go and see.
Young children love to play pretend, and when they pretend, they're also developing their imaginations. By using their imaginations, they rehearse certain events and experience the outcomes. In pretend play, children are practicing for a larger world where everything is not so safe.
Flying high in the sky, he'll look back and wave goodbye as his spaceship is flying back home. To the Earth, past the stars, he'll see Jupiter and Mars as his spaceship is flying back home.
I'm a taxi driver. People pay me to give them rides in my car. When I grow up, I want to be a fireman and wear a hat like this. I want to be a police officer when I grow up.
In Barney and Friends, a purple plaything becomes a larger-than-life friendly dinosaur if children use their imaginations. Dr. Gordon Berry has studied children's programming throughout his career as an educator, and he helps us understand the importance of imagination in the development of young children.
Imagination for the very young child is power because most of the times it is very private. It is theirs. The child can create for himself or herself the kind of world that they want. The child can engage in pretend play, for example, and they can be anyone that they want.
Can we pretend that we live underwater just like fish?
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
And now, Radio BRNY presents Imagination Theater.
Going on a jungle adventure to see what we can see.
I never imagined we'd be doing all this today.
Oh, that's the wonderful thing about imagination. It's full of surprises.
Well, there was a spider in a tree. And the spider, she came down. And she sat next to the ant. And she said, "Well, ant, if you will not take that crumb home to your family, I will surely take it home to mine."
This is the airport control tower calling Captain BJ. Are you ready to take off?
Ready to take off. And here we go.
Fairy tale castles with beautiful flags flying higher than you've ever seen. Just imagine all of the things you could see, maybe even a king or a queen.
Well, I've been spending pretty much my whole professional career studying the psychology of imagination and the importance of the imaginative dimension of human experience. And one of the things that's very clear is that if you have a rich imagination, you can try all kinds of possibilities out with impunity. Children who have learned how to play pretend games and make-believe games learn how to work things out in fantasy, in a make-believe world that they control using the toy soldiers or toy spacemen or toy schools. They can maneuver these things mentally, and it's very satisfying to children. We've done a lot of research that shows how happy children are when they're playing pretend games. Barney emphasizes that kind of play again and again. There's a focus on making believe, on translating the little stuffed toy into the big dinosaur, which is an example of a make-believe game in children.
I think the imagination, though, goes even further than that. You need imagination to think of the possibilities, the what if. And if you ever watch 2-, 3-, 4-year-olds, especially 3s and 4s, that's the peak of imaginative play, where they're trying everything out in this big world, and they can be anybody they want. And once you learn to be a good imaginative person, this stays with you throughout life.
Children learn through play, and part of their play is imagination, and that's how they explore their world and explore everything around them. And if they don't have imagination, then they can't get much further than what's right in front of them.
Just imagine, just imagine, just imagine all the things that we...
I think Barney brings to all children imagination, which is really very wonderful. It allows children to pretend. In a lot of TV shows that are out there now, imagination and pretend play are left out. So it builds on themes, on play themes. In school, we always try and expand young children's ideas and present them with opportunities to grow. And I think Barney does that.
Build a castle by playing pretend.
We might even explore with a big dinosaur.
Or make rainbows that never end.
Just imagine, just imagine, just imagine all the things that we could be. Imagine all the places we could go and see. Imagination's fun for you and me.
Imagination's fun for you and me.
The mission of Barney and Friends is to bring quality, educational, nonviolent programming to children worldwide. The hope is that the show's positive, upbeat nature will help all of us. Barney's creator, Sheryl Leach, has a very personal view of the importance of Barney in the lives of children.
I think children know that the Barney programming is safe. I think they feel secure because it's nonviolent. They can trust the programming just as they trust Barney. I believe that children today need what I'm calling safe passage, which means that from the time they're born until the time they reach adolescence or maybe adulthood, that they should have loving messages. They should have a warm, safe place to grow up and be healthy. And I think that in many ways the Barney program goes in part to provide such a place.
Well, everything we do is intended to mean something to a preschooler. And I think the key for us is to try to see things through children's eyes. And that sounds a lot easier than it really is. In fact, we're fond of talking about the complexity behind the simplicity of our shows.
When people tell me that the Barney programming is too sweet or too kind or too loving, I really feel like saying thank you. We always take that as a compliment because I think that's something that is sorely missing in programming today for children.
Syrupy and repetitive are exactly what preschool children need, love, and thrive with.
I think that for our very young children, it's the perfect situation. There's no reason why our very young children, our 2-year-olds, need to see anything that's not syrupy and safe and silly on television. Perhaps as children get older, they might begin to realize that that's not what the real world is about, and they might become more skeptical of the character. But certainly for the young children, it seems like a happy half an hour is the way to go for them.
Barney, you see, can in fact be the person who comes in and says to the child, I understand you. I love you. I want to be part of your world. And after all, children are always looking for someone that can be part of their world.
What I'm hearing from parents and what I'm hearing from teachers is that there's a concern across the world about juvenile violence today. And it's very easy to see that common sense will tell you that positive things lead to positive results. Negative things lead to negative results.
I definitely know from dealing with young children that they pick up violent actions and then they repeat them.
Well, everything starts with the theme. We try to identify a topic that children are really going to relate to, something that really speaks to them. And from there, everything else really becomes a tool. The dialogue in a script, the music selection, all of those things are really just tools to try to deliver the theme. I think we'd really like to tackle some new themes that we haven't tried out before. I think there's a lot that's right about what we're doing, and we know we're on the right path, and we hit the themes of safety and of caring, of sharing, of love. These are all basic to our shows, and we want to continue that. But I think there are some new specifics that we can add to it and some new plot twists and maybe some new characters. So we'd like to keep growing and expanding, but we're going to keep talking to preschoolers.
As we all know from our own families, there's more to the development of a healthy child than simply learning to spell, count, or sing. Children need warmth and love, and they need to flourish emotionally within their own families.
Oh, a family is people and a family is love. That's a family. Hi, Daddy. Hi, Daddy.
Oh, hi, big sister.
Mother baby.
There are 2 new babies. Tasha's mommy had twins.
Oh, Barney, what are twins?
That's when one mommy has 2 babies at the very same time, like I did.
Are they little boys or little girls? 2 little boys, and I'm their big sister.
But I know she's always there. And I know he'll always care. She's my sister. I love my sister.
We all need help explaining to our kids how to interact positively with others. And in Barney and Friends, family relationships are explained from a child's point of view, with important tips for parents on explaining different family situations.
The other kids have grandparents that they can see a lot, but my abuelo lives so far away, I really miss him.
Oh, but there must be something you can do to feel better.
Maybe you can talk to him on the phone, or write him a letter, or make a really neat picture with some hearts on it. There's a girl I know who lives with her mom. Her dad lives far away. Although she sees her parents just one at a time, they both love her every day.
Oh, a family's people and a family's love. That's a family. They come in all different sizes and different kinds, but mine's just right for me. Yeah, mine's just right for me.
I think that from the parents' point of view, that Barney is the type of program that advances the type of values that parents use when they are socializing their children. When the type of values that parents teach to their children. Those are the type of values that are also part of the content of Barney.
I think a show like Barney supports family. I see children who are brought up in deprived environments, disadvantaged environments economically, but if they have the security that they are loved by their families, even if they have poverty, they feel secure.
The first teacher to children is the family. And when families are intact and learn cooperative skills and teach children the cooperation of when the children then come to us, our job is so much easier because the basic skills that they have been using from birth to 5, modeled by parents, is already in place.
When children leave their homes, go to preschool, and make new friends, parents want them to have the social skills that help them to understand about taking turns, sharing, friendship, and good manners. When they play with the other kids or meet them at the park, we want to make sure that they all know how to get along with each other.
It seems to me that sharing is a special way of caring. If you've got enough for 2, let someone share with you. If there's just enough for 1, take turns and share the fun.
My parents kept on teaching me when I was 3. And then the more I learned, the more that I could see that there's a way to do it wrong, there's a way to do it right. Everybody use your manners now and be polite.
There's nothing wrong with laughing and playing in the right place. But sometimes when you're in school, it's important to be sort of quiet so everyone can hear the teacher.
Experts who study children's social development tell us that kids learn the most from just watching others. So as parents, we need to make sure that we provide them with the right examples.
If a stranger ever wants you to get in a car, you should start yelling really loud and run to find a grown-up you know.
That's right.
How would you share, say, a cake?
I'd cut a piece for each of my friends.
Oh, that would be good. And how would you share a book?
You could take turns or you could read it out loud so everyone could hear.
How do I get into your castle?
By saying please.
Oh, okay. May I please get into the castle?
Yes, you may.
We're talking about please and thank you. They're called the magic words. If you want nice things to happen, they're the words that should be heard. Remember, please and thank you, because they're the magic words.
Use them in the morning, at noon, and night, because it's a great way to be polite.
Please and thank you, they're the magic words.
I think that in many of the shows, what you hear, if you listen very carefully, the way the children talk to each other. They say, please, may I, thank you. They share, they give each other a good many compliments when they do a job well done. So I think they model for kids out in the audience how it is to treat each other. And I think when children watch this enough, they begin to get the idea. This is good, this is what I should do. And that's one of the things I like about the show.
Young children aren't very abstract. They're very, very concrete. So if you say to a young child, don't push Joey, how would you feel if you were pushed? You know, you would like them to be able to understand that concept, but they don't. You have to say, be kind, take turns, and very concrete kinds of things. The words to say please, say thank you. Then children learn those manners that actually will teach them as they get older to be more considerate of other people.
We use the Barney songs often to deal with emotional issues where children are sharing, or we talk about friendships or playing with one another. We find that the Barney songs are very helpful because the children know them, and when we repeat them in the classroom, it's kind of bringing a little bit of what they do at home into the classroom.
Social skills have a direct relationship to readiness to learn concepts, because social skills frequently relate to those affective behaviors of how do you act with others, How do you get ready to do something? How you interact with the teacher? How you interact with your peers in the classroom? Your attitude in terms of being kind and being thoughtful. All of those kinds of behaviors run concurrent with the cognitive domain, as we call them, or cognitive skills of reading, writing, arithmetic, language arts, and the kinds of things that every child has to learn.
He teaches me stuff.
Like what?
Like how to be a friend.
Sam was going through a difficult stage. He's 2.5, and it was a little bit of a test with some of his toys. He'd buy these toys, and he'd get a brand new fire engine or whatever, and he wouldn't like to part with it for anything. And we have a little kids club that gets together, and after watching one episode of Barney, he started sharing all your toys.
Parents all over the world are looking for programming that is specifically designed for the very young child, an audience that is often overlooked.
It's a global Barney, and international Barney is something that we envisioned from the beginning, and it's a dream come true for us now.
Regardless of nationality, children need positive, loving, and nurturing programming that is both educationally sound and developmentally appropriate. Barney and Friends is just such a program, and it's finding common ground and acceptance abroad.
We're always in need and are looking out for new ideas, and I think Barney, once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime, somebody hits upon a great idea for encouraging kids to learn whilst enjoying themselves, and Barney is one of those ideas. Television has an increasingly vital part to play in the educational process. He addresses kids' interests, he addresses their involvement, he educates them. He's like a super parent.
That I was impressed about was how quickly the kids wanted to watch the programme. So I was impressed at that, because quite often it takes a while for them to get interested in a programme, but it was instant. So I think it's a refreshing change. I mean, I just think he's very cute, a bit cute for me, but the girls think he's fabulous.
I think the overall effect on the children, on the guys watching, was fantastic. I mean, Sam was entranced from the very first episode, so I think it will take off. I mean, Sarah, you love Barney too, don't you? So it must be a widespread thing.
I would say that Barney as a character and the messages of Barney are very much universal across racial, ethnic, and gender lines in many ways. I also think, however, on the other hand, that every child has an opportunity to take the Barney character and to bring that Barney character into his or her own world.
We want our children to know that caring for others is important. How they treat their friends is how they will be treated. If we treat our kids with respect, they will show that same respect to others.
When children are with other children with special needs, they are called upon to look into their hearts and to find out ways to help other children, to be friends with children who are different than they are, and to work together. I think what we're seeing a lot of is ethical issues and acceptance. And children can use the creativity and the imaginary ideas that Barney presents and really bring it into the classroom to real life situations and be very empathetic. We see that a lot. We see children helping and caring each other. It really works both ways. Children with special needs helping the typically developing children, and the other way around.
Barney demonstrates that empathy and hope when he invites children from Make-A-Wish to see his shows. And sold-out concerts at Radio City Music Hall enabled homeless children in the South Bronx to attend a special summer school program. And recently, twin girls facing separation surgery watched Barney constantly throughout their 3-month hospital stay. To these girls, the message that everyone is special had a very personal meaning. Wherever Barney goes, he has time to visit sick children who need a special friend.
For a lot of these children, Barney's visit is the highlight of their lives. And Barney's able to do for them a lot of things that we as physicians cannot do. Barney brings to them a message of love and of hope. And this is what a lot of these kids need. Their day-to-day functioning in the hospital for them is often very grim, and the realities are very, very difficult. But Barney's message is a message of love, and it's a message of hope. The idea that they can use their imagination to realize that tomorrow can be better than today.
You know, a lot of things in a hospital are painful. We can't help it. Most children don't want to come to the hospital, and so it's very important that we try and do things to create pleasant experiences. And I think right now there's nothing more exciting for some of these children than to see one of their characters from television come alive and come to visit them. Really makes them feel special.
Barney's visits touch a child's life in a sense that makes them feel so important. I was important enough for Barney to come see. And if you're impacting a child in that way, that makes a lasting impression.
As parents, we're encouraged by what some children have learned. Todd Leibowitz, a 6th grader from New York, was so impressed with the values Barney taught that he nominated him for Dino of the Year in a report that he did for his class.
We had to pick a person or event of the year, and we had to make the format and cover look like Time magazine. I decided to do Barney because I read those 2 newspaper articles and I've watched it with my cousin, and everyone's like, "You're doing Barney? Why are you doing Barney?" He teaches kids values, and that's one of the most important things that someone could do.
The essence of Barney's message to children is unconditional love that is probably best expressed in a song that concludes each episode of Barney and Friends.
At night, we used to, after they started watching Barney a lot, and we used to sing the I Love You song before we put them to bed. And one night when we had them in their cribs, we started to sing the song and then stopped. And both of them together sang the song completely all the way through. To the part even they went, with a kiss to me and you. And it was just, we both just stopped and looked at each other. We couldn't believe that they had done that, because they'd never together sang a song completely all the way through. It was really touching. It was lovely that they did that.
You love me, we're best friends like friends should be, with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too?
We can all be encouraged and strive for a better tomorrow for children everywhere as we sing, I Love You.
I love you, you love me.
We're a happy family,
with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too?
I love you, you love me. We're best friends like friends should be, with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too?
Thank you so much for joining me in exploring the ways in which Barney helps us all to celebrate children every day. I'm Maria Shriver.
Bryant needs a hug from you.
Oh, I think so. Come here, Bryant. Give me a hug,
I knew
buddy.
you were going to start this.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Come on, Bryant.
Can just a handshake will do, Barney?
No,
No,
gotta be a
Bryant,
hug.
come on.
Everybody
you're
needs
a sensitive
hugs. Here we
man.
go.
I can't get this far,
Here we
Barney.
go. Come on. Oh,
isn't that cute?
Oh,
How are you, Barney?
Sing along if you know the words. with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too?
Okay, that was Barney the dinosaur.
Special, everyone in his or her own way. Everyone in his or her own way.
Hi, Barney. Nice to see you again. I loved when you gave Brian a hug. You're going to have to continue doing that all morning long to mellow him out. And Baby Bop, good morning to you.
Good morning, Katie.
How are you?
Thing called.
Won't you say you love me too?
Okay, I love you, Barney.